Hey folks, welcome to Ketchikan, Alaska. Look at this fantastic orbic scenery. This just blows my mind. Look at the intricate detail laid into the concrete of the terminal. We are at the one and only terminal here in I'm sorry, well, I shouldn't say it's the only terminal, but it's the only jet bridge. It's the only concourse. This airport has exactly one jet bridge leading from the concourse into the one commercial gate here at Ketchikan Airport. It is an uncontrolled field. I'm going to push ready to fly. And let's get my ground handling set up so I can get that jet bridge attached. There it is. Jet bridge. And here with the PMDG, I'm going to need to do a little extra work as well. I need to open up the number one door, one left door. Oops. Maybe it was. Open the door. Okay, open that number one left door. Get some ground services going. I want ground from pit power. We will request the ground. Request. What am I hearing? We'll request fuel truck. And the fuel on today's flight is $86.50 on the fuel. So let's pump her up to $8,800. Little for the girlfriend, little for the wife, little for the mom. You never want to run out of fuel. And we'll release the air stairs. Entry is going to be by jet bridge. And I want to get an air conditioning unit attached as well. We'll request the carts and the loaders, but some of those aren't going to be able to work until after we air conditioning unit. There's air conditioning. Some of those ground units aren't going to be able to work until after we have the fuel. Attaching the fuel. And start the fueling. We'll start seeing the fuel slowly pump in, but some of those carts aren't going to work until we've got the fueling complete. 128 is what we're expecting by jet bridge. Let's take a look outside. Okay, let's get that jet bridge attached. Here we can see the rear cart. The forward and rear carts are moving into position, but only the rear is going to be able to load while we're fueling. Jet bridge is coming in at a bit of a cockeyed angle there, but I guess it'll certainly work for us. What do things look like up on this fine aircraft? Parking brake on. Thrust levers to idle. Landing gear handle down. Speed brakes retracted. Flaps retracted. And we don't have green on the landing gear because we don't have power available. Let's come back behind the flight deck. Oh, there's our first officer, Criste. Welcome, Criste. Come behind the flight deck and do a rainbow check. We're going to check to make sure this fire extinguisher is in the green. We're going to check all these circuit breakers to see that they're flush. We'll check the spare bulbs, the emergency escape rope, make sure it's attached, the rope is attached and available. Come back here and check for operation of the jump seat passenger's oxygen mask. We can pop out the jump seat. See that that works. Yes, it does. Don't have a need for the jump seat, so we'll retract it. There goes the jump seat in retraction. Check the airworthiness certificate. Check the aircraft registration. We might also find a radio operator's permit back here. We can also find some airframe and power plant logbooks, a mill list, minimum equipment list. We'll check the emergency breathing apparatus back here. We'll check the crash axe, which is right there. We'll check the emergency landing gear extension handle valves. There they are right there. Make sure they are available and that door is unblocked. Check the landing gear pins. There they are. All that can be done in the rainbow check. Now we can take our normal seat up front. See how the fueling is going. Oh, what's going on with the fuel? Oh, we can release the fuel truck. We have our fuel, right? Do we have our fuel? Let's return here. Go to fuel. Oh, it's still loading. Our fuel is still loading our fuel. Turn on some of the rheostats back here and get the lights kicked up. We have external power. Let's get the battery switch turned on. We'll get on external power. We will get the emergency exit lights armed so anyone in the back can find their way out just in case of an emergency. Chimes are on. We'll check the attend button. Check the call button. Leave the wipers off. It's not actively raining. We'll kick up some lights here. Equipment cooling, supply, and exhaust are in the normal position. Our position light is on. That's all we need for right now. We're going to hold off on the fuel pumps. We'll check the fuel crossfeed bright, then dim, crossfeed off, bright, then off. Crossfeed is off. Control panels are to norm. Sources to auto. FMC, IRS, and VHF nav are all to norm. Normal, leave the yaw damper off for right now. Spoilers, flight control, and alternate flaps are all in the guarded position. We can go up to our leading edge flaps devices and do a flaps and slats test. That is fine. We'll get the IRS aligned on system number 1, the left system, system number 2, the right system. Then we'll go to nav, system number 1. Nav, system number 2. We're going to spin this lower dial and find out how long we have in the alignment process. There is 7 minutes to wait. Dome light is off. Service interphone is off. We turn the speakers on for nav 1. For the marker beacon, it's set to microphone number 1. I'll leave the PA off as well. Check the electrical and the EC switches are guarded. Passenger oxygen supply is to normal. Flight recorder is to normal. Do a Mach airspeed warning test on system number 1. Do a Mach airspeed warning test on system number 2. It's too early for a stall warning test. That won't come in right now. We'll have to wait a little bit on that one. We'll come back. Landing gear is showing 3 green and down. Battery is 24 volts. Battery on the bus is 28 volts from the bus, from the ground power. We are on ground power, 115 volts AC, generator 1, APU, and generator 2 are all showing 0. We have nothing on the aircraft yet, just ground power. Galley power is on, so the coffee makers are working. Standby power is disconnected. We are on ground power. Exhaust gas temperature on the APU is off. APU is not running. Pressure is vented to the outside, so there's no pressure. We'll do a cockpit voice recorder test. 1, 2, 3. There goes the light. Forward cargo and aft cargo doors are open. Also, we can open our forward entry door. Let's go down and get that forward entry door opened. Opening the forward entry door. Forward entry doors open. Hydraulics do not have power on them yet. Wing and anti-icing are off. Probe and static heat are off. Window heat can come on. Supply ducts showing 21 degrees. Passenger cabin is also showing 21 degrees. The PACX are off. That's fine. We have external air conditioning right now. Isolation valve is opened. APU bleed. We're going to set up for dual bleed, but we're not quite ready for it. Altitude here in Ketchikan for an emergency return. I believe we're at 93 feet altitude. Let's check that out. Ketchikan, departure, taxi, airport. 92 feet. 92 feet altitude, so that's fine. Runway 11 or 29. If we take 11, we'll have full-length departure. If we take 29, we can either do an intersection departure or a taxi back to get the full 7,500 feet. Don't know what the slope is on that runway. Slope, glide, no, slope. What's the slope? I don't know what the slope is, if any. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that for right now. So the overhead is fine. Let's go to that upper overhead and see if I can do that stall warning test yet. There it goes, stall warning 1, stall warning 2. That is normal. So let's do some other tests. Let's go down and do a fault test on the fire suppression system. That's okay. We'll do a fire overheat test. That's okay. We'll do a test on the extinguishing bottles. Left engine. That's fine. Right engine. That's fine. We'll do a test for smoke in the cargo area. Extinguishing bottle test in the cargo area. That's fine. We want to tune in our first nav aid on our route today. Our route is Ketchikan to Anchorage, and our first waypoint is a VOR called, we're going to be using the Ketchikan 6 departure. Our first VOR is ANNET, A-N-N, 117.1, so we want to get 117.1 tuned up in our nav1 radio. Since we're here using our charts, we might as well do a brief. So, taxi brief. We talked about either 1-1 full length or 2-9 intersection or full length. Taxiway Alpha for 2-9 and Bravo for 1-1. On the Ketchikan 6 to and 116. Either straight out or U-turn around to 116. 190 at above 2000. 147 track to ANNET and then on course. So that is our departure and our taxi briefing. Let's take a look and see how our, I think our fueling process must be about done by now, don't you think? Oh. Ah, where's that fuel? There we go. Fuel. 8761 is what we're at. And it looks like we've stopped, so let's go to our ground services. Release the fuel truck. 8801 is what we requested. Release the fuel. We can release the aft loaders. They finished. Oh, no, no. Oh, shoot, shoot, shoot. Oh, made a mistake there. Got to get that aft loader back. Our cargo is 3493. I've already calculated half of that is 1746. So 1746 in each of these. Or 17. Close enough. Let's go to our flight management computer. We are in a Boeing I almost said Airbus. We're in a Boeing 737-700 ranked at 24,000 pounds engine thrust. Air cycle is expired, but not by much. Here's our last position. We are at Papa Alpha KT, Ketchikan Airport. Pretty close to our last position. Let's go to the next page and pull up one of our GPS coordinates. There we are. Routing. Destination. Okay. PACX to PANC, Anchorage. We are Alaska Airlines, flight number 43. Yes, ASA is the code for Alaska Airlines. Our routing will be to Ann, VOR, and then Lair, L-A-I-R-E, and then Yeska. Lair and Yeska. L-A-I-R-E, and then Yeska. Departure. We don't have a runway yet for Anchorage, for Ketchikan. We have an arrival. We don't have a runway yet for Anchorage either. What are we going to do about that? Well, we need some air traffic control, that's for sure. Let's go back and see how that loading is going. We can start the loading on the forward, get the aft heading this way again, and we can get our PACX program going and get the passengers started to board. I am a rookie with PACX, so if I don't do everything correctly... Okay, this is our flight number, ASA 43. I can hear the passengers loading in the background. And let's get to our passengers over here. And we can get the passengers started boarding here as well. You'll start to slowly see the passenger count. We're going to start the loading on the rear cargo. Let's get our routing into the flight management computer PACT to AN, to LAIRE, to Yeska. What was that waypoint? I forget what that waypoint was. Yeska or Yeska, Y-E-S-K-A, K-A to P-A-N-C. So we'll import that. Our instrument departure will be runway 11. We can use the Ketchikan 6 departure to AN. We'll load that in. Our arrival will be on 7 left by the Yeska 6 transition at Yeska. We'll load that in. And our approach will be the ILS to runway 7 with the Anch transition. We'll load that in. Validate that plan. Let's connect to the simulator.
Ketchikan International Information Juliet, 1353 Zulu winds are light and variable. Visibility 10 miles. 500 overcast. Temperature 9, dew point 9. Current altimeter is 2978. Arriving and departing runway 11. Ketchikan International Information Juliet, 1353 Zulu winds are light and variable. Visibility 10 miles. 500 overcast. Temperature 9, dew point 9. Current altimeter is 2978. Arriving and departing runway 11. Ketchikan International Info.
We have a departure runway of 11. We have an air pressure setting of 29.70, altimeter setting. It's both in the pilot flying, the standby, and the pilot not flying. We can turn the flight directors on. Hold off on the auto throttle until we're at the runway. Flight directors are MA on the pilot flying side. We can get a clearance. Anchorage Center, Alaska for a tree, ready to copy.
Alaska for the is clear to Papa Alpha November Charlie, climb the set 6 departure, with the transition, then as file, expect departure runway U11, climb to 1300 feet via the departure, expect higher clearances 8 minutes after departure, squawk for 112.
Alaska 43 is cleared to Papa Alpha November Charlie, climb via the set 6 departure, with the ANN transition, then as follows.
Please double check that all your
Climb to
items are put away so
13,000
that
feet
the aisle
via the
is clear and
departure.
other passengers
Expect
can make their way
higher
to their seats.
clearances 8
If
minutes
you're in an
after
emergency
departure.
exit row, please read the
Squawk
exit seating
4112.
responsibilities in the card in the seat back
Alaska
in
for
front
the
of you.
read back
If you're not
correct.
able to
Can't
comply with
push
these
for if
actions,
release
please
when
let a flight
number 1 for
attendant know, so
departure.
that way you can be
We'll
reseated.
contact you
You
for
are free to
IFR
use your
release.
portable electronic
Alaska
devices during the boarding
43.
process. We ask that larger electronic devices are stowed once we depart from the gate. Thank you and welcome aboard.
4112 on the squawk. The transponder is into standby mode. Let's almost there on our carts. We can release the forward carts. Rear carts are almost there. Let's go to our initial reference. Our zero fuel weight is 52.8. Reserves are 3.4. Cost index is 11. Flight level is 380. Cruise wind is 000 at 6. So, departure is on the Ketchikan 6 arrival, runway 11. And the arrival is the Yeska 6 arrival to runway 7 left with the Ank transition. Activate and execute. Takeoff. Flaps will be 5. Center of gravity, 23.8. Trim, 5.45. You folks who've flown with me recently know I've had some major problems with this trim wheel. So I can't set it now, but as soon as we go into autopilot, the autopilot will be able to adjust that. Let's verify these V speeds. And we are looking pretty good. There's the legs menu. Let's get the APU fired up. Ah, come on, APU. Where are you? Fuel pumps on. Anti-collision light on. Dual bleed on. PACX off. Ooh, sorry. PACX off. PACX off. Isolation valve open. APU on. Yaw damper can come on. Exhaust gas temperature is starting to build. Low oil pressure light went off.
19 Mike, contact center 132.65.
Western 265, goodbye, no, 719 Mike,
Aft cargo doors are still open. Forward entry door is open. She told me that we're all PACX aboard. Let's check and see how the flight computer says all PACX are aboard. Menu. flight computer has all packs aboard, so we can release the rear loaders, release the air conditioning unit, close the entry door, pull the jet bridge,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 43, with service to Anchorage. Our flight time will be roughly 1 hour and 57 minutes. Please note the cabin door is now closed. We ask that you make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your larger devices are now shut down and stowed. If you have not already, please fasten your seatbelt and verify it is low and tight across your lap. Your tray tables and seatbacks must be in the full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew, prepare cabin for departure.
dual bleed off, packs on, isolation valve to auto. Yaw damper on. Okay, we are on the APU. Let's talk to the ground crew.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
Confirm all ground checks complete. We're cleared to pressurize the hydraulics.
Outside check is completed. All doors and panels are closed. No issues found. You can pressurize your hydraulics anytime now.
Do a recall check. Let's get that tug connected.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We will be ready shortly.
Understood.
We don't need a pushback clearance in uncontrolled airport. We will do a test, an annunciator light test. Every light, every bulb in the house. Check for missing or broken filaments or elements or LEDs. That all looks good. We'll do a test on the autopilot disconnect lights for first officer and pilot flying side. We can do a ground proximity warning test.
Glide slope. Pull up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear.
No D-rate on the takeoff or climb.
Up.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
137 in the V2. 137 V2 in the MCP. Legs page on this side and the
Good, 6105, get a 12375. 2375, good, 6105, get a...
takeoff data on the first officer's side. Parking brake is on. Let's get a pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Understood. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Oh, we need to get the chocks off. Ground power is disconnected.
All ground equipment is clear. You can start the engines at your discretion.
Let's go to ignition right, ground.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the flight attendants for a safety demonstration. When the seatbelt light is fastened, please make sure that your seatbelts are fastened low and tight across your lap. To fasten, insert the metal fittings into one another and tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle. We suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the entire flight as we may experience unexpected turbulence. There are several emergency exits on this aircraft. To familiarize yourself with the emergency exits on this aircraft,
push is complete. Please set the brakes.
card in the seat back pocket in front of you. In some cases, your nearest exit might be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, There is lighting on the floor to guide you towards the
Parking brake set.
In the event
Understood.
of a decompression,
Okay,
an
turbo is
oxygen mask
disconnected,
will drop
pin
in
is
front
out,
of
and
you.
equipment is
To
clear.
start the flow
Thanks,
of
and you can
oxygen,
disconnect and
pull
go
the
to hand
mask
signals.
towards you.
Thanks, have a good
Place it
flight,
firmly
and
over your
we'll see
nose
you
and
later.
mouth. Secure the elastic band
Introduce
behind your
fuel
head.
to number
Tighten the
2.
straps if
We'll go to
necessary,
ignition
and
on
breathe
the
normally.
right-hand
Although
side
the bag does
in the
not
ground.
inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you are traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask on first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you it is safe to remove it. In the unlikely event of a water landing, a life
introduce
vest is
fuel to
located
number
in
1.
a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Slip it over your head. Wrap the straps around your waist and buckle at the front. Pull the strap to tighten. To inflate the vest, pull firmly on the red cord only when exiting the aircraft. If your life vest does not inflate automatically, blow into the mouthpieces for manual inflation. Each vest is equipped with a whistle and light. If necessary, your seat cushion can be used as a secondary flotation device. Pull the cushion from the seat, slip your arms into the straps, and hug the cushion to your chest. Once again, all devices must be in airplane mode and your larger devices must be turned off and stowed at this time.
Breeze pass
Please securely
24.0 for
stow your
280.
personal items.
Envoy
Make sure your
3903
seatbelts are fastened in seat
reports
backs
of some
and
light to
tray
moderate
tables and in
turbulence,
full upright
mainly
position.
westbound,
We remind
you
you
might be
that this is
affected
a non-smoking flight.
27-273 if you want to
Tampering
stop
with,
at
disabling,
27
or
now.
destroying the smoke
Okay, we're going to continue up for now. We're actually 24.4. We're already getting
All of this information
forward.
and more can be found in the safety card
Full
located in the
left.
seat back in front of you. We suggest
Right
reading this
aileron.
and letting a cabin member know
Left
if you have
aileron.
any questions. Thank
Right
you for flying
rudder.
with us again, and we hope
Left
you enjoy your
rudder.
flight.
Speed brakes. Spoilers are working. Flaps are set to 5.
From the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. Welcome on board our flight. We'll be departing soon and we're aiming for a smooth flight. Thanks for flying and we'll keep you informed of any changes as they happen. Are you guys ready for departure?
We're still getting ready for departure.
Okay, we can. Again, there's no air traffic control here at this airport, so all we need to do is to request in the blind. She preparing for departure. Less than a minute left is what the flight attendants are telling me.
Loxa 620, contact center 128.6.
286 Loxa 620, thank you.
We're ready for departure.
Okay. Let's, parking brake is off. Clear to the right, clear to the left. Ketchikan traffic. Alaska 4 tree, taxi runway 11, Ketchikan. Let's do a brake check. And brakes work. Ketchikan traffic. Alaska 4 tree, taxi runway 11, Ketchikan.
Please note the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a reading light on the panel above you.
I'm going to arm the auto throttle. I'm going to turn on the runway or the landing lights, turn the strobes on, get the transponder turned to the TARA mode, traffic advisory and traffic resolution mode. We'll be using a full toga takeoff today, no derate on the takeoff, departure, or the thrust. We're climbing a bit of a grade here, so we do have some low clouds in the area, so I'm going to turn on the anti-ice, wing anti-ice, and engine anti-ice for departure. Anchorage Center, Alaska for a tree, ready for IFR release, runway 11.
Alaska for 3, you are released for departure. Runway 11 after takeoff, maintain heading 116 until above 1600, then turn to intercept course. Climb and maintain 3000 feet. Release for departure void at 14:31 Zulu. Advise with alternate intentions no later than 14:36 Zulu. Time now is 14:24 Zulu.
Alaska 4-3 released for departure, runway 11 after takeoff, maintain heading 116 until above 1600, then turn to course. Climb and maintain 3000 feet. Release for departure void at 14:31 Zulu.
Checked for traffic on final, there was none. Runway is clear. We're going to spool up to 40% on the engines, holding toe brakes. Each engine is its own animal, and if we don't have this set, we can get a little asymmetric thrust on takeoff. We are ready for takeoff. Let's hit the toga. Full power, brakes release, rudder on the rudder.
121.35.
121.35, 320.
Airspeed alive, cross check. V1.
V1.
Rotate. 15 degrees on the pitch up. Positive rate. Gear up. Flaps 1. Or flaps 2 rather. VNAV, LNAV, VNAV, LNAV, command, autopilot 1, flaps 1, and flaps up. We have 14 miles until the waypoint Ann.
Great news from the flight deck. We're very slightly ahead of schedule.
See if the airplane captures the LNAV here on our way to Ann. Let's also go into VOR mode and see if we can track that VOR that we have tuned in. Okay, we go back to map mode.
Alaska for the climb and maintain flight level 210.
Climb and maintain flight level 210 Alaska 43.
We broke through the top, so the wing anti-ice and engine anti-ice can come off. PACX can come on. APU can come off. Five miles to Ann.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet, so you may turn on larger portable
landing
electronic
lights
devices.
can come off.
This is also a reminder to please keep your
Runway
seatbelt
turn-off
fastened
lights
throughout
can come
the duration
off.
of the flight and do not form a line near the lavatory. This aircraft is equipped with onboard Wi-Fi. If you wish to connect to the Wi-Fi, you will be required to pay a small fee. We do offer complimentary in-flight TV thanks to our partners. Connect to the Wi-Fi to find out more information. The flight crew has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You can now get up and move around the cabin. However, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened when seated in case of unexpected turbulence.
I don't think PACX recognizes the seatbelt sign on the PMDG. See, here you can see the autopilot is moving the trim wheel without a problem, even though I couldn't do it. Our brakes can come off of RTO. Engines should have been on continuous, but they can come back to off. And they never put them on continuous as I should have. I have no restrictions.
Delta 2964, you can go back to our 134.7.
Okay, we'll go back to the...
Alaska 40 climb and maintain flight level 290.
Climb and maintain flight level 290 Alaska 43.
Bye-bye.
Well, folks, I'm going to continue the en route portion without you and join you when it's time for the descent. See you folks soon. Well, folks, I brought you out of pause just a little bit early because the aircraft is reaching its calculated top of descent. Now, this is probably well before we would get descent instructions from air traffic control. But since the PMDG is new and shiny, I'm going to go ahead and let the aircraft fly its own profile in the descent rather than waiting for the descent from air traffic control. So also we have not yet received our landing and our runway instructions or our approach instructions from air traffic control, so we're still waiting on that. But there you can see the aircraft calculated top of descent is coming up. So what I'm going to do is lower our target altitude here on the MCP, and I'm going to drop it to about 7,000 feet. And then we'll see if the aircraft goes into its descent as it should at the top of descent here. We're going to select number 3 on the auto brakes. And we'll just see what we'll see, won't we?
Alaska 43 contact Anchorage Center on 133.6. Have a good one.
Center on 133.6 Alaska 43. Center Alaska 43 descending to flight level 340.
Alaska 43 good morning. Radar Antec. Descend and maintain flight level 340.
Descend and maintain flight level 340 Alaska 43.
November 813 Quebec Sierra, contact center 119.95.
1995, 3 Quixer.
And as I said, we're going to hold off a little longer and let the aircraft find its own descent profile.
Alaska 43 expect the Yeska 6 arrival with the Yeska transition 4 days approach to runway 07 left with the I transition at Stevens Anchorage International.
Expect the Yeska 6 arrival with the Yeska transition for the ILS approach to runway 07 left with the transition Alaska 43.
So we just got our landing instructions. They are exactly what we expected. Let's set up the flight management computer for the arrival. We're going to be making a flaps 40 arrival, 130 knot airspeed. That clicking that twice will move that, fill that field in. It'll also fill out our reference on our primary display. ILS is 1099 on the frequency and 074 on the course. So 1099 in our number 1. On both the pilot side and the first officer side.
On 4885, descending 301, flight level 270.
And we
want 4885, center, roger.
074 on the course. On both sides. Here comes that top of descent, and we'll, when you hit the top of descent calculated point, we should get a calculated rate of descent here on our right.
Alaska 43 descend to cross Yeska at 5,000 feet and descend via the Yeska 6 arrival with the Yeska transition to 3,500 feet altimeter to Oniner 86 at Stevens Anchorage International.
Will cross Yeska at 5,000 feet, then descend via the Yeska 6 arrival with the Yeska transition to 3,500 feet altimeter 2986 Alaska 43.
Just gonna change this to 2986 and go back to standard. Just wanted that altimeter setting in there for when we cross the 18,000 foot threshold. There you can see our vertical profile, vertical descent profile, and we are starting to descend. Throttle RPM is decreasing as we are still in auto throttle.
Alaska flghtdeck Anchorage Center on 119.3. Have a good morning.
Center on 119.3 Alaska 43. Center Alaska 43 descending to 3,500 feet.
Alaska 43 god morgon. Radar korta. Altimeter 2982.
Altimeter 2982 Alaska 43.
So if you want to see the topography here, you can see there's this high range of mountains that we're going to be threading the needle on. And then the altitude, the terrain altitude will substantially diminish.
95, 17.5, 53.
JetBlue 95 center. There's some light to moderate turbulence reported 27 through 33. Above that should be good. Climate maintained flight level 340.
Alright, up to 340, JetBlue 95.
You can see that high terrain here, and then have the diminish further on. This indication tells us we're on a perfect vertical navigation profile.
Delta 989, traffic is 10:30 to 11 o'clock, 10 miles eastbound, Embraer, flight level 230.
Looking, Delta 989.
For those folks joining us late, you see we have a guest today. Criste, our first officer, has joined us for the first time on the PMDG aircraft. And it's so wonderful to see Criste helping us out. I do like having that profile page available. Here we are, just starting to approach that high range of mountains, and then the terrain will significantly drop off after that. We are not picking up our ILS yet. When we do, we'll get a DME distance measuring equipment, and we'll also start hearing the #1 VOR in our ears. We'll get the Morse identifier. We'll get the Morse identifier for that ILS frequency in our ears.
November 8432 is here, clear and flies.
Flies, 843 is here.
Alaska 4, contact Anchorage Center on 133.7. Have a nice day.
Center on 133.7 Alaska 43. Center Alaska 43 descending to 3,500 feet.
Alaska 43, good morning. Radar contact. Altimeter 2986.
Altimeter 2986 Alaska 43.
just now crossing that front range. The highest peak is Mount McKinley at, oh, how high is Mount McKinley? 21,000 feet, I want to say. Maybe it's 18. I think it's 21. But we're coming upon 18 now, which is transition altitude. Let's go to local pressure density, local pressure altitude on the altimeters.
Alaska 43, contact Anchorage, approach on 134.1, enjoy your morning.
Approach on 134.1 Alaska 43.
18,000 and cross-check. 2986.
Approach Alaska 43 descending to 3,500 feet.
Alaska 43, good morning. Radar contact. Continue descent via the Yeska 6 arrival. For the ILS approach to runway 07 left with the transition at Stevens Anchorage International.
Continue descent via the Yeska 6 arrival. For the ILS approach to runway 07 left with the transition Alaska 43.
The flight crew has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your seat and fasten your seatbelt. We have begun our final descent into Anchorage. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seat.
November 707 Whiskey, runway
all
7
Wi-Fi
right
related
is on
tasks
request,
and
but
stow
for
any
now, plan on
larger
runway 8.
electronics.
We're going to be overflying the airport. Remember, we're coming in for runway 07, so we'll be approaching to the east. We have picked up our ILS frequency. We're 13 miles from the ILS. Again, we're going to overfly it and return. 10,000 feet, we'll have some housekeeping items to take care of. Downtown Anchorage should be just below us now. There's Anchorage, Alaska in all of its glory. Still on vertical profile. Let's go to landing lights on, runway turnoff lights on, taxi lights on. I'm going to go ahead and start the APU. Get the dual bleed on. Ding the cabin.
Alaska 43 turn left heading 252 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 07 left at Stevens Anchorage International.
Heading 252 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 07 left Alaska 43.
We're going to get some vectors. I like vectors. Our speed is already under the 250 required for under 10,000 feet, so we're okay there. Let's go to flaps 1. You can see our descent has been held. We're holding our descent until we get our speed into flaps 1 range, and that's why we're falling out of line with our vertical profile. Once we get into flaps 1 range here at 180, we'll continue our descent and hopefully catch up on that profile. Flying outbound.
That was 3175, reduced me to 210.
Flying 210.
You can see we're above vertical glide, but we are descending into it. I'm going to give us another notch of flaps. And again, we're going to hold off on the descent while we just get to that flap speed, which in this case isn't much. I'm trusting Criste, our first officer, to keep her eyes out of the airplane and on the surrounding traffic, and of course she's monitoring my actions as well. Let's go to flaps 5.
Traffic. Traffic.
And how about flaps 10? Gear down. There we go. That's what I wanted. Gear down. Flaps 15. Oh, what's going on with our flaps? Somehow our flaps got put all the way up. Somehow our flaps got moved. Somehow I hit something to move our flaps all the way up. Flap should be at 15. I'd hit a bit of an overspeed.
American 767's coming out of 13 house, descending on the Haida. We have for 7 right, Sierra.
American 7627, approach, expect to visit the proclamation 7 right, maintain 280 knots or greater.
280 or greater, and we'll expect 7 right, American.
Well, air traffic control ought to be giving us a heading to final, but they're not. So I'm going to give us our own heading to final. Let's give us 05 on the heading. That'll get us to base. Air traffic control kind of turned us out.
Alaska 43 cleared for ILS to runway 07 left, fly heading 042 to intersect final.
Cleared for ILS approach to runway 07 left, fly heading 042 Alaska 43.
It kind of left us out hanging to dry. It didn't give us a vector into our Okay, we have the approach armed. We have the dual autopilot armed. You can see we're heading for VOR lock and glide slope at the same time. Our glide slope, calculated glide slope, is the pink arrow. The actual glide slope will be the caret, the cursor. Should be intercepting the localizer here first. So here comes the localizer, and we'll get VOR lock. Should be at 2,000 feet at this point.
Southwest 249 at 220, descending via the Eagle 6 with Sierra.
Those 249 approach, expect original approach from 8.
Well,
VOR lock. $1,600 at Wugsy, so we'll go now to 1,600 at Wugsy. I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of the flaps. That's 30 and 40. Dual autopilot. Approach is armed. Brakes are off, full flaps, auto throttle, speed brake is armed, landing gear handle is down.
Alaska 43 altimeter 2986 at Stevens Anchorage International Contact Tower on 118.3. Good day.
Altimeter 2986 tower on 118.3 Alaska 43. Tower Alaska 43 inbound for ILS approach runway 07 left.
Alaska 43 good morning. Radar contact. Continues to runway 07 left call when established on final.
Continue ILS to runway 07 left will call when established on final Alaska 43.
Glide slope is coming in. Anchorage Tower, Alaska 43 on final.
Alaska 43 winds are calm, cleared to land runway 07 left.
Clear to land runway 07 left Alaska 43.
Let's get that glide slope intercept. We have glide slope intercept. We get the flashing of the carrots and we'll be in auto land.
2,500.
There's the radar altimeter. Come alive.
Traffic. Traffic. Climb. Climb.
That's the traffic advisory resolution. But I'm going to ignore it because I'm hoping.
Increase climb. Increase climb. Descend. Descend now. Increase descend. Descend. Increase descend.
I don't see the conflict.
Clear of conflict.
Yeah, clear of conflict is right. $1,600 at Webby, that's correct. Right on our profile. Double flash.
FedEx 618 Heavy at the shoreline.
And we are in Autoland.
0925 right.
The computer will handle our flare.
At the shoreline 21025 right, clear for takeoff FedEx 618 Heavy.
Computer will handle our flare. All we need to worry about is the retarders.
Alaska 43 exit runway enable.
Wow, nice landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anchorage. The local time is 8:07 a.m. and it's currently about 54 degrees Fahrenheit. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the
Foxtrot, cross 25 left, cross 25 right on Bravo, FedEx 46 Heavy, and we can accept Foxtrot.
During the flight.
If
this is your final destination, we
expect the full
thank you for flying with us.
Copy that, we'll expect the full length. Cross 25 right for Bravo, FedEx 46 Heavy.
To ensure a smooth continuation of your journey.
Clear of active Alaska 43.
Alaska 43 contact ground on 121.9. Enjoy your morning.
Ground on 121.9 Alaska 43.
Looks like we got quite a number of full stalls here. Anchorage ground, Alaska 43, request taxi to the gate.
Alaska 43 taxi to gate Alpha 11 via taxiways Kilo.
Taxi to gate Alpha 11 via taxiways Kilo, Alaska 43.
I'd be lucky if I can find an empty gate. This is quite the bird farm. Is that an empty gate just beyond that UPS aircraft? I think it is. Maybe not. Yeah, no, I guess not. Oops. Hit the wrong button, folks. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to find an empty gate. Heck, at this point, I'll just take a stand. Why are all the gates filled? Oh, here's a gate. Found a gate. Well, I wonder if we can steal this guy's jet bridge from him. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, this isn't pretty, is it? I'm just going to put my parking brake on here. Let's see if we can steal this guy's jet bridge. Okay. Parking brake on. Let's get the set chocks, ground power request. We have the APU running. We'll get the aircraft on the APU and we'll kill the engines. Seatbelt sign off. Lights all off. I don't know why that is going crazy with the wheel chock set. Ground power is available. Shut down the APU. Shut down the pumps. Windscreen heat off. Pitot heat off. PACX off. Fuel bleed off. Whew. Well, folks, we are done. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.